Hello and welcome to the Savage Goose Show. I'm Goose, and on this show we talk about all the news for Savage Worlds in the past week, and then usually have a little discussion. And today I am joined by Matthew J. Hansen of Sneak Attack Press, and today we're going to be talking about his setting, the Broken Earth, not the just Broken Earth, I guess, right? No, but we're going to be talking about Broken Earth, and going to talk about his Kickstarter and everything going on with that game and that setting for Savage Worlds. Thanks for joining us, Matthew.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, always happy to have more publishers for Savage Worlds content on here so we can hear about all the games. I mean, I like Pinnacle's games, but I want to hear about everything else. There's a lot of ideas out there to be adapted to Savage Worlds, and I always appreciate having more people on to talk about them. So as always, we are going to start with our newsletter. So let me just go ahead and present that. And then once we get through all of our news, we'll talk about Broken Earth. All right, so first big piece of news here is that Deadlands, the Abominable Northwest does have a launch date. That launch date is October 1st, so mark your calendars for that. That's also the same date. Oh, we'll get to that, how about that in Kickstarters. But that's the date for Deadlands, Abominable Northwest, if you're looking forward to that. I haven't gotten my first set of Deadlands stuff yet. I backed the Night Train Kickstarter, and I got the core set of Deadlands stuff in that one. So I'm still waiting for all that to come through. So I'm like trying to decide if I haven't played through Deadlands enough yet to know if I want to get this or not. So have you played any Deadlands, Matthew?
Yeah, back in the day, it was one of the first Savage Worlds games campaigns that we did. We were running one of the prefab adventure path plot point settings for it, and now I'm blanking on which one it was. But yeah, I played a huckster, magic using gunslinger, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, I feel like some of the best actual plays for Savage Worlds have been Deadlands over the years. So that's kind of great to see. Got to see always the continued support. I mean, Deadlands is one of like the childs of Pinnacle. It's like it is the thing from Pinnacle is Deadlands. So
Yeah.
always going to see more and more support for it. We have an update for the Suede 20th anniversary celebration campaign. It is now shipping, which is always super exciting to finally get stuff in hand. If you backed the Kickstarter in the next 2 weeks, you should get a email with your tracking number for all the stuff that you're getting. There was a lot of stuff, like not just the books, because this was like mostly for the book, the player's book, but there was a lot of other little fun goodies that you could get depending on which level you got. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to getting mine. My players who don't own any Savage Worlds books at this point, they both two of them bought the player's book from this campaign. So I'm super excited just to have those in their hands so that they can do more reading on their own. That's in a physical book, and so they can look up rules without using my copy. So I'm super excited to get this though, and get all the fun little goodies that came with it.
I got it. I got the PDF version, so I just am running out of space. But then it also gets there a little sooner, so that's always a plus.
Yeah, I mean, I just bought these new bookshelves, so I still have a decent amount of space over here, and if needed, I could just like get rid of those 5 ebooks up there and just replace them with Savage Worlds books. Be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm excited to get that stuff and just kind of get that into our hands, into my players' hands. Yeah, so look forward to those shipping notices. The Deadlands Night Train Pledge Manager is open for to pay for shipping. I've already gone through and paid for my shipping to make sure that I can get my stuff, because I want my stuff. So if you did back this and you have not gone through that and you're getting physical rewards, make sure you go ahead and go pay for your shipping, so you make sure you get your books in. I know that they've been trying new systems for shipping stuff, so there's going to be like different. There might be like a new one. I think might be different than the one they previously did. So they're just trying out some different systems right now. So make sure you pay for it. Also looking forward to getting the adventure. One of my players actually ran this for me, ran one of the adventures for me, and it was difficult, and we did not get very far. Probably should have metagamed a little bit and like vampires. stuff about vampire. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to getting all that content myself. Savage Worlds spooky season. It's spooky season. I'm excited for spooky season. Are you a spooky person, Matthew?
I am increasingly spooky now that I have kids. My son really loves ghosts and skeletons and stuff, and so he's always like, "Dad, when can we set up some Halloween decorations?" Like,
You, you,
like
you know,
in October, maybe.
yeah. I mean, we like fall. Like my wife and I like fall. My wife, but as soon as the rule is that she cannot put up any fall decorations though until Labor Day's over. Once Labor Day's over, she's allowed putting up all her pumpkins. She's a whole bunch of like different pumpkins she's allowed to put up for spooky, yeah, or just for fall. But we have some neighbors who put up some Halloween decorations pretty early, and we walk past them all the time. And my kids are like, the skeletons and the cat, because there's like a black cat and all these other things. I'm like, why are you so excited about skeletons? Like, okay, sure. I'm glad, I guess, that you're excited, but also a little weirded out that you're 3 and 5 and like, super excited about skeletons. But
Mm-hmm.
they also have like the really tall ones, so it's like, okay, they're really big, so that's understandable. But as far as Savage Worlds is concerned, there is a first spooky season. There's a 20% off sale off of all of your spooky settings for Savage Worlds, which is most of them. I feel like there's a pretty common element in a lot of Savage Worlds games that there's an element of horror somewhere. So yeah. So we got Deadlands, Rippers, Weird Wars, Holler, East ETU, Pine Box Middle School, Fear Agent, The Goon, and The Horror Companion, and the Tales of Horror are all 20% off. This is, I mean, the one thing I'm really looking at has been the Pine Box Middle School, which was already on sale before, and it's continued to be on sale. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I feel like I need to go get that because it's like a Kids on Bikes thing. I love Kids on Bikes, or not the setting, but I like Super 8. Super 8 was a great movie, and I want to replicate that with this. So I'm definitely tempted to get
Yeah,
that.
and I'll also just give a quick plug. Savage Tales of Horror. I've got an adventure in that I wrote. It's a
Oh, really?
sci-fi, yeah, sort of aliens-ish, but with some other twists in it. So I think there's 2 volumes, and I forget which volume it's in, but it's in one of them.
Yeah, I've run some adventures out of the Tales of Horror. It was more modern day one. It wasn't a actually I didn't think it was modern. I think it was technically I think I was doing it for a Rippers game. But
Mm-hmm.
the Tales of Horror are nice, fun collections of one shots. So I definitely recommend them. They were technically made for a previous version of Savage Worlds, right? I think they were technically made for
I
like for
believe so.
yeah. I think they were
Yeah,
originally made for
yeah.
Deluxe Edition,
Uh,
but that's Savage Worlds. It's easily convertible. So
yeah. Yeah, and also I'll share another fun story. I put a the reason that I'm remembering that it was the previous version is because I put a hindrance in my adventure, which was secret, and then that actually got into the adventure edition. So my
yeah,
tiny contribution to adventure edition.
I mean that's gonna be my goal is to get into some version of somehow get into a product of Savage Worlds eventually. It's gonna be like, I'm not sure how because I don't really write content for Savage Worlds.
Yeah.
Just making streams about it, but you never know. Maybe I'll come up with something. Have a good idea. For this week in the media, they are meeting with Mike Lafferty of Fainting Goat Games. He is the author of The After and Cocaine Owlbear. I do have a copy of The After here. So this is I've not had time to read it yet, but it's a fun little game. And they're going to be talking about the forthcoming Banker Kit campaign for Starbeards for Savage Worlds. So actually, I'll be honest, I have not looked at this yet. I don't know how somehow I missed it. So, but they're going to be talking about that, and so take a look at that Twitch stream this week. I always watch on YouTube. I know it seems like everyone's watching over on Twitch, but I'm always over here watching YouTube by myself. I'll like write comment, and people are replying to me like from Twitch in the stream. Cool. This I am actually super excited about. Saving Throw Show takes on Pathfinder for Savage Worlds. So Saving Throw Show is a show that is they've done other tabletop role playing games, but one of my favorite actual plays of all time was the East Texas University actual play that they did on their channel right as Adventure Edition was coming out. So they kind of like were like the first to like really play Adventure Edition and kind of showed off. And so it was and I just really enjoyed the GMing and the players and everything. It's just really well done. And they are doing or have done. They recorded it last year, but they're going to be premiering the episode on Wednesday, September 25th. So that's tomorrow. Of a actual play of the Pathfinder for Savage Worlds game. It is just a one shot, so it's not like a whole entire campaign that they're going to be playing. It's just a one shot, but it's going to be done into different parts. So look forward to that and kind of watch that. I look forward to watching it. So some other crowdfunding updates. So yesterday, Evil 3 USA orders should be shipped if you're international. Still coming. Shipping has begun for 20th anniversary celebration. Super excited for that. Pledge Manager shipping is open for Night Train. Science Fiction Companion Pledge Manager is open for physical pre-orders. And the Pathfinder Savage Worlds booster campaign has had the digital versions delivered. I still need to read through all the new updates and everything to see what they changed for the APG from the first draft version to the new version. And then again, Abominable Northwest, October 1st. So with that, let's go ahead and switch over to talking about Kickstarters. So first off, Broken Earth. What? Yeah, crazy. Like I didn't know there was a Kickstarter for Broken Earth going on.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'll have to back.
It does end Thursday, October 17th, so you only have so much time to do that. That's like it's over 2 weeks. It's like 3 weeks, I think. So you have some time, but don't forget about it. Like go and hit like the save, like notify me button so that you're notified when it's almost over. So at least you can get in at the end. But ideally, you get in earlier. So don't forget about it. Let's see here. Coming Tuesday, October 1st is Starbreaker, Saints and Sinners from Star Anvil Studios. We'll be meeting next week with Star Anvil Studios to talk about this Kickstarter as well. Excited for this. Looks really well done. I like the art style. And then also the same day, it's always unfortunate when there's 2 Kickstarters starting the same day for Savage Worlds, but same day is going to be Deadlands, October 1st from Pinnacle. So look out for that one as well. And then coming soon, I still don't have a date for this yet. I keep seeing like coming soon from these guys, is going to be the Battlelords 23rd Century Charlie Foxtrot, I believe is the name of the book. It is basically just a collection of adventures for Battlelords in the Savage Worlds version. We'll be talking to them not next week because that's Star Anvil, but the week after we had these guys scheduled to come on and to talk about this game. So super excited for that. I think that's the right order. With that is all the Kickstarters, and I don't have any additional news. The only additional news I had was actually about Broken Earth. So we'll just talk about that as we talk about Broken Earth. I'll set that book over there. So let's go ahead and stop the screen share. Right, there we go. Cool. And let's do that. Let's get our faces nice and big so everyone can see us. So if you're just joining us, welcome to Savage Goose Show. We are joined by Matthew J. Hansen of Sneak Attack Press to talk about his current Kickstarter for Broken Earth. Matthew, just to start us out, let's just give me your elevator pitch on what is Broken Earth.
Sure. It is post-apocalyptic Earth, future setting. So it is typical sci-fi nuclear apocalypse. Bombs have blown everything up. And now it's 80 years later, and people are having to rebuild. You are, descendants of survivors. And there's mutant monsters out there that you have to fight, and there's ancient technology that you can recover. And then the community building aspect is a big part. So, you latch on to a community, or you maybe found your own community, and try to build a little bit of civilization back.
Cool. So it's not just survival. Then it's like survival plus other details, right?
Mm. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. The rebuilding aspect, I think, is a big thing that I am excited about when I see post-apocalyptic fiction. Not just the like, can we get enough food for today, but like, are we going to be able to make schools and create a place for kids and stuff like that? So
Okay.
that's appealing to me.
Yeah. No, I get that. You see that like a lot in movies. You see the communities come up. Um, that only so often do you see the main characters kind of like participating in that. So it's kind of nice to see like that opportunity, like to explore that idea of things. I'm not sure why the first move that came to my mind was the Book of Eli, as a like post-apocalyptic you know community. There's a community there, and it's being built very poorly in this case, but there is a community being built there, and something's happening. So that's a cool idea, like to explore that piece of things. So is there so obviously my mind went to Book of Eli. Is it when it comes to like thinking about the genre? uh Sorry, let me back up first. So you said it's 80 years after post-apocalyptic. Is there like what is the relative time frame that the apocalypse itself happens?
Yeah,
Feels like
it's about
idea of like
20
technology.
years. Yep, about 20 years in our future. And it's kind of a sliding scale. So, like, you know, whatever 20 years is from when you play is when it is going to be. So there's been some advances. You know, there's like autonomous drones, which feels like it's less future every day. Robots and like there's synthetic humans and bioengineering and stuff like that.
Okay,
Um,
gotcha.
yeah, and that's sort of some of the things that gave rise to some of the dangers that characters face during the adventures.
Okay, yeah. So when it comes to like modern technology, when it comes to technology level, just think like current plus 20 years.
Yeah,
Perfect.
exactly.
Perfect. So in that vein then of thought, just thinking about genre, thinking about feeling. If people want to try to sometimes it's helpful for people to think about a setting relative to things they've experienced. So is there any particular movies or TV shows that you feel like would be a good example for people to
hmm
look at, or like to get the kind of feel that you're going for?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Fallout series of video games. I've played them since Fallout 1, and then I watched the Fallout show on Amazon. I was a big fan of that. So there's a lot of influence there. It doesn't have like the retro future thing that Fallout has going for it. So it's like an actual modern vibe. But other than that, there's a lot of similarities in it. And there's pockets of other stuff here and there. There are like intelligent chimpanzees kind of stealing from Planet of the Apes. There are some bad guys down in Iowa who have a Mad Max vibe to them. So it's not like the whole setting is not a Mad Max, but there's pockets of Mad Max that you can find in there. So yeah, steal a little bit here, a little bit there, put them together.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Perfect. No, that's awesome. Okay. The thing that really helps kind of give people an idea of like what we're looking at for like, trying to understand what kind of game we're looking at. And I think that's very helpful. Now,
hmm
this is not the first, technically this is not the first release of Broken Earth. You've released Broken Earth before.
hmm
The previous version was for, you had a Pathfinder version, and then give me, is the order Pathfinder and then Savage Worlds Deluxe and now Suede?
Yeah. So they were kind of simultaneous.
Okay.
The Pathfinder and the Deluxe. Um, and yeah, and like Pathfinder, I think has a lot of cool stuff going for it, but it is a lot harder to make into a post-apocalyptic future than Savage Worlds. Savage Worlds is way more flexible, and so
Right.
I've had some people ask, when are you doing a Pathfinder 2 version of Broken Earth? I'm not sure. Um, it might be easier to do a Starfinder version. I'm looking into that, but now they're updating Starfinder. So I don't know, for those Paizo fans out there, maybe sometime, but I don't know when. But Savage World, super easy to adapt to a lot of settings. And so, yeah, that's why this Kickstarter right now is just Savage Worlds, updating it. Was originally Deluxe, so making it into the Adventure Edition. And then also adding a new book, a newish book, Tales from the Great Lakes.
So I definitely would like to talk about the Great Tales of Great Lakes a little bit. I definitely plan on asking more questions about that. And for the people who are wanting like a Pathfinder versions, just tell them you have Pathfinder at home and just point to Pathfinder for Savage Worlds. Just like we have Pathfinder at home. See, it's right here. So
Yep.
you don't need, yeah. But that's great, perfect. So with Deluxe Edition, so we saw this a lot. We saw, or still see this a lot with some products. We have a lot of products have conversion notes from like Deluxe Edition to Adventure Edition. Sometimes people just want to revamp things and take this opportunity to kind of completely change some things. Maybe they found like, I did this one thing, doesn't really work out as well as I'd like it to. And you maybe change it around. Is there what would you say are the biggest changes from going from the deluxe version to the adventure edition? And what things do you feel like the adventure edition brought in that really supported getting your idea to the table?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I like a lot is the quick encounters that Adventure Edition brought in. They're so great for like random encounters and stuff like that, and stuff where like you want to show your players, yeah, there's a lot of bad guys that you have to fight in order to you get to the final boss. I don't want to run every single bad guy encounter to get to the final boss. I just want to get to the final boss. So quick encounters is a fun thing to do there. You talked about revamping stuff. There's some community building rules in there that we're tweaking a little bit. The overarching concept is the same, but giving them a bit more like usefulness to the players outside of the community, out when they're adventuring. There's some times when they can substitute a role from one of their community stats for one of their stats. Like if you're like your community has a sort of force stat for how strong the community's their army or whatever is, and you can sometimes use that in place of a battle roll. So uh, little tweaks like that we've been making to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And was there anything like do you feel like it was overall pretty easy to convert from everything else from deluxe edition to adventure edition?
Yeah. Overall, pretty easy. Like it's just a lot of like I have to double check things that I'm like, okay, I just want to make sure I'm calling the skill the right thing. Um, and I also play other games too. So like, man, the find the thing skill is one that every game I feel like has a different name for it. And I just have to be like, okay, is it notice? Is it perception? Oh yeah, that's right. So
Yeah.
that's just
That's something that
one of my things.
that's something that my I think a lot of my players who are coming from like D&D have had issues with when it comes to like, oh, what's my insight? Let's notice. Oh, what's my perception? It's notice. Okay. What's my investigation? It's notice. Maybe research.
Mhm.
So there's like, it's just like if you want to see the thing, it's just notice. Regardless of
Yeah.
you're trying to notice something with your eyes, it's or even your ears, it's just notice. Which I think is simpler, but often people are, like you said, people are like used to the same perception. So yeah. So Venkel says notice, spot, perception, awareness. Yeah, there's a lot of different names that people have come
Exactly.
up with.
Yeah.
Hamster Doom is asked a good question, and I'm going to ask you: was the removal of charisma problematic to your change from deluxe edition to adventure edition?
I mean, I wouldn't say it was problematic. It is something that I obviously had to do because there are things in there that influence charisma. There's like some edges and stuff, and
Mm,
one of the custom races reference charisma and stuff. So like I had to find other things to do it, but like I also looked at how Adventure Edition did it, and so it's like give a free reroll on the persuasion and rolls.
right.
So yeah, I had that like sort of template that I used when I was having to update those sorts of things.
Cool. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was a big fan of the removal charisma because I didn't. That was like one of my annoyances. I didn't always care for the way charisma worked in the previous edition, so I was all for its removal in the current edition. But you brought up something. You said something that I didn't. There's something I clearly made an assumption, and it was the wrong
Mm-hmm.
assumption. And that assumption
Mm.
was that the races were all human. You
Oh,
said, "Oh, one of the other races." So tell me about that. What are the other races? Not you don't have to tell me like, wait, what they are, but like how many races do you are in this book? How much? What kind of races are we looking at? That kind of stuff.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I can just go ahead and tell you quick what there are. I think there's four total. So human, basic human. And then there's freaks is what they're called in the setting, and they're mutant humans. And they're like a mutant, species branch of humans. You can also get edges that give you random mutations. Like
Mm.
if you want to have gills, there's an edge that you can take where you have gills. But freaks are like radiation resistant humans with bumpy skin and no hair. And their skin is like shades of gray, like literal shades of gray. So they don't have any pinkish to them or brownish. And then there's simians, which are intelligent chimps, genetically engineered before the war and then have bred true after. And then there's synths, which are like robot assassins, basically. They're cyborg robots. So using organic tissue, but with robot brains and, designed before the war to be like assassins and stuff.
So like
Um,
somewhere between
but
like a Terminator and like a Cylon.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. I'm pulling the nerd knowledge out right now.
Yep.
Um, oh, this is a good question. Are there any random charts for mutations? Can you roll for it? Or is it
Um,
easy enough to roll? Even there's not a chart, is it pretty easy to just roll for it?
Yeah, I mean, you could certainly figure out a way to roll for it. Like I put them there in there. They're either edges or hindrances, depending on if it's a good or a bad mutation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like I tend not to have characters roll for edges and hindrances when I play. But I mean, I feel like it would be pretty easy to just I
Cap
forget off the
them.
top of my head how many there are, but it would be pretty easy to just make a list and go down the list.
Yeah. So in that kind of vein of question, then like you have new hindrances, and you have new edges. And it sounds like some of these new hindrances are specific to both some of the new edges and some of the new hindrances are have prerequisites that you be certain races.
Yeah, there are some of those. You don't like most of them though. You can be anything. Like you can be a monkey person who got extra mutated.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Perfect. So okay, so we got new edges, we have new hindrances, we have other new races. What do you have any? Sorry, that's the right question here. One of my favorite things when it comes to settings and looking through a setting book, like one of the first things I kind of look at, tends to be to go straight to the setting rules. Do you introduce any new setting
Mhm.
rules in Broken Earth?
Yeah. Yep. There are. The biggest one is the community building rules.
No.
Um, And yeah, there's a lot that goes on with that. I try to keep it like pretty fast, fun, and furious still. So a lot of it focuses on like, the players doing missions. So like, oh no, we need like a power converter so we can build a dam. Can you guys go out and get us a power converter? And the PCs go get a power converter and they bring it back, and then the community gets to have a dam, and that gives them various bonuses. There's edges that your community can get, and then those grant benefits like both to the community, but they also grant bonuses to the PCs. So try to keep it focused on that. And then there is like rules for scavenging in there and stuff like that. Just trying to keep with like, what do we need to have a post-apocalyptic thing?
Cool. Yeah, so one of the reviews, when I was looking at your reviews for the original Broken Earth, one of the things that someone mentioned was that they thought that the rules for, I think they said that the rules for like the communities were, they liked them because they weren't like over bloated, over complicated. They were still simple. They're still fast, first, and fun. So that's something we always want to see is like, rules aren't going to be like a burden to players and GMs, keeping them simple, but still adding, especially like I really like it when mechanics kind of give reason for role play. So or role play over missions, even like this is what you have to do. So it's nice to see like some mechanics like that are built in. It's like, yeah, it's really easy to just say like, look, this session begins like, hey, the leader of the community says, hey, we're running low on water. We need we have a system for purifying it, but or even just say like, hey, our water system purifier broke down. It needs a new part. Someone needs to go out and get it, and they players go get it, and it benefits the community, and it has like a bonus, some sort of bonus or whatever. So that's really fun to see. Cool. So is there anything else about Broken Earth that you like inside the book that you want to talk about, like what's in those pages that I did not ask about?
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of setting, different things that you can encounter, and then there's basically there's adventure to sort of a plot point campaignish thing where there's like an intro adventure that's pretty well fleshed out, and a bunch of plot pointy type things that there's sort of an arc that you can play through if you want to, or if you just want to go exploring out there and see what you find. There's lots of just little adventure lit things that you can find in there. So that's I mean, that's a big part. And of course, the actual descriptions of the places is a big part.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we touched on a lot of the other stuff.
Is there a lot of new gear in the?
There is a list of gear. Like a lot of it is, it's stuff you've probably seen before, either in the core book or the sci-fi companion.
Mm-hmm.
There's like, I guess probably the new thing, there's like super drugs that, in a sort of Fallout-ish vein, you take a shot of something and it makes you super strong or whatever for a bit.
Some jet or yeah.
Yep, exactly. That's probably the biggest new thing. Otherwise, like I have notes on the gear about like how rare it is, and that comes into the scavenging system. And so I have a gear list in there. But it's you got your guns, you got your armor, you got your technology, all those sorts of things.
Nice, perfect. So so you mentioned the sci-fi companion. I should kind of maybe I should have asked earlier. Now the book is designed, is the Broken Earth setting is designed just to use only the core rule book, right? Like you don't need any of the other
Yeah.
companions or anything. Cool. Is there anything from the any of the companions that if people do have them, let's say it's not needed, you don't need to have them, but if you have them, you would recommend incorporating into the game?
I mean, you like could certainly use some of the tech from the sci-fi companion as like old world tech. Like, I don't have power armor mechs or anything in here, but maybe there's power armor out there, and so you could grab some of that. And then like creatures, could obviously be dropped in there. Um, I've got a bunch of new creatures that are in there, but you could easily grab more and say, this is some strange thing that they found out in the wasteland. And yeah, that would be a really easy addition to it too.
Gotcha. Perfect. All right. So, yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything from the Broken Earth book. So then coming in to talk about the Tales of the Great Lakes, right? Did I get that right? Tales of the Great Lakes.
Yep.
So this is a new book that you're doing specifically with this campaign. First, what is it? Right? What is Tales of the Great Lakes?
Yep. So it is expanding the city, expanding the setting into the Great Lakes area of US Canada along the border there. And the core book has stuff in Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, that area. And so there's some stuff already that's on the Great Lakes. Duluth, the ruins of Duluth is like a big starting community that's
Okay.
involved with it. But then, yeah, it just goes further all the way out to New York. There's something in the Niagara Falls, overlooking Niagara Falls. There's like basically a casino city out there that's run on hydropower.
That makes sense. The
And
area around Niagara Falls does give a little bit of a casino vibe. Like actually, there's a giant casino right there. Nothing about it, so that makes sense.
Mhm. Yep. And yeah, the sort of if you are looking for a like a narrative premise to get started, the premise is, hey, you've got these guys in Duluth who sort of control the local trade up in northern Minnesota, and they're looking to expand their sphere of influence. So you work for them. You're going exploring out into the Great Lakes on your little sailboat to find out who's there and maybe make deals if you can. And if you encounter some people you can't make a deal with, then that's better that maybe they're not there anymore. Stuff like that.
Nice, perfect. Okay, so is there anything like that comes that is like any like is there like any other like new rules or player options there? Is this like just kind of mostly like a GM book to expand the world?
Yeah, it's mostly a GM book,
Okay.
giving some expansion.
Nice, perfect, nice. Now, so for those of you watching, if you go to the Kickstarter, there is options for both. Like for if you really back it, there's options for the PDF versions. There's options for the print versions of both these books. Personally, I'm a big fan of having stuff in print. I love having stuff in print. In fact, I have a whole entire wish list on Drive Through RPG of things I need to order in print once I can, even though I already own the PDFs. So personally, I'll be more focused on the print option for sure. Is there, before we dive into comments, because I do have several comments that I wanted to pull out, is there anything else that you want to talk about in regards to the Kickstarter, to Broken Earth, Tales of the Great Lakes?
I'll throw out there that there is a jump start out.
I meant to mention
Yep.
that too. Yeah.
That's fine. Yep, that's fine. So it's pay what you want on Drive Through RPG. And it starts with a little bit of a like a summary of part of the setting, a quick overview of the setting, and that no, that's basically taken from the core book. But then there's a brand new adventure that you can play as a one shot, and there's even pre-gen characters that come with it. So if you're interested in giving it a shot, you only need your core Savage Worlds book, and you grab the adventure, and everybody picks a pre-gen, and you can have a good night of gaming with it.
Yep, and there is a link down in the description below for the Jumpstart, so you don't need to like go looking for it. You can just go down the description, click it, it's right there. There's also a link out to the Kickstarter as well. So if you are looking for the Kickstarter link, just look at the description of the video. There is going to be a link to both the Kickstart, the Jumpstart rather, and the Kickstarter. So go take a look at those. All right, cool. With that, then I think I am just going to move on to questions, or not just questions, comments too. So the first comment I wanted to show was from Peter Saloom. We talk pretty often. In fact, we got a thing scheduled for this Friday we got to do. But he says Broken Earth was the first setting that he read when he got into Savage Worlds. So, and he's still
Awesome.
here and he's making content and writing adventures too. So perfect. Let's see here. Vinkel did say something when we were talking about the kind of getting a feel for. He said some more Postman than not Mad Max. I'm not familiar with Postman, but now you're saying that like, Mad Max does exist in a sense somewhere in. You said Iowa, right? So
Yep, yep.
yeah, a little bit of that. I want to pull this one comment out because I want to respond to it. Broken Earth looks awesome. My players are not into post-apocalypse though. You're the GM. You can just do a teleport. Just bring him into it. Some sort of, if you're in a fancy game, just like some sort of. Also, there's so many different kinds of post-apocalypse out there. I think there's a sense in which you could argue almost like half of my Savage Worlds books are technically post-apocalyptic. Though I will say that I think this one is the most kind of like straightforward post-apocalyptic in a good way. Like it's fun. It's something a little more what we would come to expect if it was to happen today, right? So it's a little more closer to home because it feels a little more real in that sense if you're to play a game like that. Daniel also wanted to know, is there going to be a plot point or will there be a plot point campaign? You said that in the book there is a plot point like campaign or like a small piece of that. Do you have any plans to do anything bigger, like a larger plot point campaign?
I mean, I have thought about it. I cannot say for sure definitely if there will, but that is in the back of my head.
Something you're thinking
So
about.
if yeah. Yep.
Hey,
But
at
yeah,
this
I
point,
mean
it's all I can ask for.
what's in the core book should give a pretty good, pretty good campaign though. So
Just Sales 42 says, "Hello, Matt. Jim from Art of." I apparently found out last time I said this wrong. It's not Wuxia. It's like Usha. So something like that. So apologies for saying that wrong. He says Broken Earth is great. I've had fun playing in that setting. So more people who have had experience playing Broken Earth already to attest to the fun games it brings.
Yep, and I'll shout out, hey Jim, we've played together at cons a bunch, and Artawusha is great. I have a copy of it, and I have not gotten to play it with other people except for Jim at cons, but it's a total blast and reads good. So that's a good book you should check out too.
Another question from Daniel: which type of adventures? What type of adventures would be best played in Broken Earth instead of other post-apocalyptic scenarios for Savage Worlds?
That is a good question. I mean, I think getting back to that community building element of it, where you are, you're finding resources for your community, you're finding allies, you're negotiating with other settlements out there. If you have to, going to war against other settlements out there. Yeah, those sorts of things are the first thing that jump into my mind when you ask about that.
Okay, perfect. And then next question is from Hamster Doom, one of our regulars
Hmm.
here. If you were dropped into Broken Earth or in a Broken Earth, what is the most overlooked skill that you think would be great to have?
Oh, farming. I feel like this is the thing that people always forget about in the post-apocalyptic, but like you got to eat, and that like canned beans only last so long. You're gonna need to start growing your own food. Yep, farming. That's what I
Is
got.
that a skill that you've added in the game, or is that a
It is not, and the PCs are probably not going to spend a lot of time doing farming. So like, that was if I was dropped into it. I would
sure
not be a PC. I would be your NPC
of the
who grows
community?
potatoes. Yeah, and I'd be like, "Here are your potatoes. Go fight those bad guys for me, so I don't have to."
Awesome. Great. Well, I don't see anything else I wanted to kind of bring up. Jim does say he hopes to see you at Gamehole Con. So which for all those people who are at Gamehole Con or going to Gamehole Con, kind of jealous. I need to get to a con at some point. There's like one con coming up that I'm like, oh sweet, it's gonna be like here in Pittsburgh, and then I think I have other things going on that I can't make it for some reason. I'm like, oh, so but no, thanks for talking about that. Is there what other for talking about just kind of backing up a little bit, talking about sneak attack press? What are some other things that you guys do? What kind of other products you guys work on, and what other kind of things are you working on for the future?
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm currently working on is I've got a series of books. It's the This and That series. And the idea is that each one focuses on like a piece of gear or a type of technology or something like that. So rope is one of the first ones I did, and musical instruments is the most recent one that I did. And then it just sort of spins off a lot of stuff on that theme. So they always start out with the history of whatever it is. So, talk about the history of instruments a little bit. And I feel like it's always all of them start as like, this has been around so long that we're not really sure how they got started, but we think probably it's like this. So we're like, people were shaking gourds, maybe we think. Um,
Mm,
and then, yeah, so it goes on from that. So then there's always like new monsters that are on that theme. There are like magic items, so it's got more of tends to be a fantasy-ish vibe. So like if you're
okay.
playing Savage Pathfinder, it's perfect. Um, Magic items. There's random tables in there. There are often optional rules, but not always. And yeah, just a lot of stuff thinking about that theme. And I've put out, I think, 10 of them so far. There's a collection of the first 8 that you can get in print if you're the type of person who really likes print stuff.
That's me. That's me.
And
Always
then
getting print.
yep, yep. And then yeah, I'm working on more. So hope to have another one coming out later this year. I haven't exactly picked my topic, but I've got it coming out. Um, so yeah, that's the thing I'm currently working on. And then we've got a pretty decent back catalog of stuff. We've got some other adventures for Savage Worlds. We've got another Savage setting called Chronocalypse, which is like a time travel mashup setting
Okay.
that I think is a lot of fun. Yeah, and then I also do some designing for other games and stuff too. So yeah.
Nice. Perfect. Uh, well, let me, as we kind of like come to the end here, is there anything else that I did not ask you about, either in regards to Broken Earth or Tales of the Great Lakes, or even just about Sneak Attack Press that I didn't ask that you want to talk about? And you can say no.
I mean, I feel like we covered things pretty well here.
Perfect. Well, great.
Um,
Well, then I'll just kind of end with just asking, where can people follow you in updates, not just about this, but just from Sneak Attack Press and Sneak Attack Press in general?
yeah, the best place is actually Mastodon, which is the non-corporate version of social media, nonprofit. I was on a certain other social media until some things happened with its ownership and policy changes. And I decided I didn't really want to be there anymore. So I'm mostly on Mastodon at Dice Camp uh, and at Sneak Attack Press. So Mastodon users can find us there.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. So I'd say I think you guys had a Facebook as well, right? I think I tagged
Yep.
you guys
Yeah,
on
we do
Facebook.
have Facebook as well. When I do use that some still.
If they want to keep up to
Uh,
date, Mastodon's the place to be.
yep.
Got it. Perfect. All right. Well, I thank you for your time, Matthew. I appreciate you coming on and talking about your game. If you all in the comments or watching this are interested in getting this game, again, the Kickstarter is down below. If you want to get the Jumpstart link is also down below. Just pay what you want. So you pay whatever you want. Get the game, play it, print it out. It's got pre-gens. It's got an adventure. It's got a preview of what the game's gonna look like. I really like jump starts. I think they're great. How the game we do jump starts in Savage Worlds. That's really helpful to get an idea for the game and kind of get everything out there. But great. Thank you for your time, Matthew. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you all next week with Star Anvil Studios and talking about Starbreaker. Cheers, everyone.